Hello everyone, welcome back to the session. At this stage of the course, one issue should be obvious. Scope 3 accounting does not fail because of emissions factor, it fails because nobody is clear about who owns the data. Scope 3 emissions sits across suppliers, logistics providers, internal teams and customers. If responsibility is unclear, data quality collapses. So in this session we focus on one thing only: how Scope 3 data actually flows across the stakeholders and how organizations assign ownership and accountability. As we talk, you'll see a table on the screen. Don't treat it as something to memorize, treat it as a map of how Scope 3 works inside a real organization. Let's start with how to read this table. The left side shows all the stakeholders involved in Scope 3: suppliers, internal teams, sustainability, and leadership. The middle column explains what data each stakeholder actually owns, their role in Scope 3 using responsibility logic, and the right side shows who they interact with, where challenges usually arise. This table is not theoretical, it reflects how Scope 3 data moves in practice. Suppliers own the most critical upstream data: energy use, process emissions, material production information. They are responsible for generating primary data. But here's the reality: many suppliers, especially MSMEs, do not measure emissions at all. That's why the data also highlights supplier challenges: lack of awareness, reporting costs, and limited capability. This is the first breaking point in Scope 3 data flow. Move down the table to procurement. Procurement does not own emissions data, but it owns supplier relationships, spend data, and contacts. That makes procurement responsible for collecting Scope 3 data and engaging suppliers. If procurement is not involved, sustainability teams are forced to chase suppliers without authority and data collection fails. This is why Scope 3 ownership cannot sit with only sustainability teams. Now look at logistics and operations. These teams own transport distances, modes of shipment, product specification, and packaging decisions. They are responsible for activity level data, even though they may not see emissions as their job. If these teams are not engaged, Scope 3 calculations rely on assumptions instead of real data. This is the most misunderstood role. Sustainability teams are accountable for Scope 3 inventory, but they do not own most of the data. Their role is to define the methodology, select emissions factor, document assumptions, consolidate the inputs, and ensure consistency and credibility. Think of sustainability as the orchestrator, not the data owner. Finance appears in this table not as a data generator, but as a boundary and assurance function. Finance provides the spend financial boundaries and alignment with disclosure. Without leadership reinforcing expectations, Scope 3 remains voluntary and fragmented. Why responsibility matrices matter. Now step back and look at the table as a whole. This is essentially a responsibility matrix. When organizations do not explicitly define who is responsible, who is accountable, or who supports and who is informed, the Scope 3 becomes a side project. Clear responsibility turns Scope 3 into a managed process, not a reporting scramble. One final point. This table also explains why Scope 3 creates resistance. It introduces new responsibilities, new data expectations, new performance conversations. The teams may ask, why is this suddenly my problem? That is why change management is essential. Organizations must clearly explain why emissions data matter, how responsibilities align with existing roles, how success will be measured. Without this, Scope 3 initiatives stall. If there is one takeaway from this table, it is this: Scope 3 success depends on clarity, not control. When data ownership is explicit, the stakeholder engagement is structured. Scope 3 becomes manageable. In the final video, we will step back and take a look at the organizational journey on Scope 3 emissions, how companies evolve from confusion to capability and from estimation to influence. Because Scope 3 leadership is not just about having the perfect data, It's about building systems that improve over time. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more such updates from ReGeneva.